true Fairlionian welcome.
So yes, a true Fairlionian welcome indeed. It is I, Gomez, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jankie.
Hello!
And we're also joined by a few guests with us today. 2 guests, in fact. So we have Unhinged.
Hello.
That's the one. And we also have Swurv.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Indeed. So we're just going to be talking a little bit about what's been going on since the latest card's been added, and also these two have got a little bet going on at this moment in time on rank. So let's hear a little bit about that. So if you could explain what's going on with that. Unhinged.
More than a little.
I mean, okay, so well, there we go. If you can explain what's going on with that Unhinged.
I know that there was a thing going on Twitter where people wanted to shave their beard if they didn't hit masters in a week and whatever. And I know those type of things usually inspire Swurv. Swurv came to me and was like, how invested are you in your hair? And I was like, I'm pretty fucking invested in my hair, bro. He was like, all right, well, whoever ends this season higher than the other in rank, the loser has to shave their head. I was like, absolutely fucking not. I've been growing my hair for way too long. Not to mention, I lose that bet, I lose my life, I lose my identity. I win that bet, I gain absolutely nothing. I was like, how about $200? And he was like, that doesn't seem as much fun. I was like, it's pretty fun for my wallet. And then he was like, sure, whatever, let's get that going. So that's how that deck came to fruition. I mean, that's how that bet came to fruition.
That's right. I came in and I threw the gauntlet down. I was like, listen, you want to talk smack about me and my crappy plays? Well, you better put your hair behind it. And he couldn't. So I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. We'll do it. We'll just made it happen.
Yeah,
like, so, whatever. But
we'll do it pedestrian.
And I mean, it was my idea, and it was kind of born out of kind of a personal thing because, and I haven't told anybody this, but I've been really actually suffering from ranked anxiety. I really, really have. And I was like, I gotta motivate myself somehow. And I was like, well, let's just do this. Like, let's put something on the line.
Let's metaphorically glove slap somebody across the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
For months and months and months prior, the two of you had been like having friendly back and forths on Twitter about like who was the better player and like whose opinions were off and like who was high and who wasn't. So
well,
like,
yeah. I mean, we both could be high.
Yeah, the two of you have come out with some pretty bizarre and out there opinions. I will say that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I agree with a lot of the shit you say. Like, I know that Unhinged has a lot of opinions about like back when Azirarelia was huge. You were tweeting against them being like the problem that people made them out to be, which I can get behind that.
Yeah, I still don't think that deck was as, again, like you said, as terrible as everyone believed it to be. I also believe that all it needed was time. I think the nerfs, the nerfs that it got, I like to call it placebo nerfs. People feel like the deck is nerfed because, they raised Azir's level up and they raised Aurelia's level up, but those 2 cards still level extremely quickly. Like, I almost feel like there's no difference in how rapidly I've seen them level. What's changed is the amount of cards that we have and the different type of decks that we get that have pretty much rendered the way that Azirarelia wants to play a little bit useless, especially since they hate blocking. Like, it's the craziest thing to me that those players never block, which is why they end up losing games more times than not, especially in a meta that has so much overwhelm now, so much quick attack, so much double attack, and so much Sivir. Just
I mean,
so
there was a lot of. I mean, that's the other thing as well. That it's the patch notes that came out at that time, as well as the new cards, just shook things up so much. Because number one, like it made the Watcher a lot worse than what. Like, is obviously like now it was harder to get to the Watcher, but also it does leave you with some cards because that used to be just instantly, boom, you're done. Second to the Watcher, it's done unless you've got like some form of Kahiri or you've got like a champion in hand to be able to shuffle something. You're done.
Yeah, I am so glad that Liz Trundle Control got completely deleted.
Demolished, dude.
Yeah, that like so I agree with what you're saying about Azirarelia. Their play rate has absolutely tanked and their win rate is like exactly the same. But God bless the people that are still trying to play Sandra Trundle. Those brave warriors that are still trying to limp along with their 30% win rate deck.
I have not seen a single TLC
I've seen
in
a
my
few.
brief games on ladder. Maybe it's an EU thing. Like I don't know. Have you seen anything in the NA ladder? I haven't seen TLC ever.
No, I haven't. I haven't run into it at all. I haven't even run into Turbo Thralls.
I mean, the best game that I had against it actually was on one of my latest videos. That was basically they were playing it. They managed to get to their Watcher, but I actually forced them to get their Watcher out a turn early for blocking purposes, and actually killed their Watcher on that turn because I was playing a deck whereby I had what's her face like Shyvana, and she had got to such a stupid point. Where just like literally, just like I could outstat Watcher and just kill him on the board. It's like, well, there you go. Your whole game strategy's done.
Yeah, God.
So, GG's, right?
God,
This is where you will surrender now.
Like TLC players are now under the same heading as like deep players for me, where I have nothing but respect for the people that are still trying to make it.
I still like deep as a thing. I like deep.
I like deep conceptually, but like if you're trying to climb with deep, then you are a masochist. Okay, right. We skipped like way ahead. So let's actually talk about like the history of you guys in like card games and the like. Like, how did you guys get into doing what you are doing nowadays? Because both of you stream Unhinged. I believe you are like recently became the owner of your own esports team, right? Lunatic Fringe.
I have. Those are very strong words. Owner, but yes, I did create a team, Lunatic Fringe. We did actually just have a scrim against SwurvTV OTK, where I gracefully went 0-2. Like a true boss that I sacrificed my W's for the greater good of the team so that they could shine. That's what real owners do.
Yeah. Make the other players look real good.
Just so good. So good. Like any one of them look like they should be leading the team right now. And that my mission was achieved with pure success.
I mean, that is the ultimate sacrifice.
Right? Like he would take his shirt off his back and put it on like a muddy puddle, so his teammates wouldn't have to step right in the mud.
You know what? Fuck my shirt. I would just lay down in the mud. Be like,
look at it, just laying it down.
Walk over me to get to the other side, guys. Come out.
You're both Twitch streamers. I believe both of you do YouTube.
Once again, very loose.
Loose
definitions.
Come on.
Yes.
Pick yourselves up. You're great creators.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, we both are.
And obviously, Mystic Shot podcast, which there is a entwined history with this one.
Hello.
Yep. It's been great.
So, I suppose the question is, how did the two of you get into playing card games in the first place before all of this?
Oh, do you want to go first?
No, you guys first.
Okay. I mean, just like as me as a person, I've always been competitive, and I was drawn to card games from a really young age. Like my father would always play cards with me, just starting at Go Fish and playing War, and, just even in those games, I was looking for an edge. Like I was always trying to find a way to, have a strict strategy with certain games, like, moving forward a little bit. I mean, I don't know how it is in Europe, but we have a card game, a drinking card game here in America called Asshole. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it.
I think Asshole is the American equivalent of Bullshit. I think it's the same game. It's like a drinking bluffing game.
No, Asshole is more like it's more like Uno, but with a regular deck of cards and lots of alcohol.
Okay, no,
yeah.
I've not heard of that one.
But I was the guy that was creating flowcharts for people to play Asshole correctly. Like that was me, and I was very competitive with cards, playing, with my family, visiting my uncle, go and play with him, and I got into Magic when I was, I think, 5th grade, right around that time. And of course, got competitive with it, played local tournaments. Nothing ever huge or, like, championships, but, winning local tournaments as a teenager. That eventually translated into me trying poker. And I, once again, studied the game, got as good as I could at it. And I was making a living at it for a couple of years in my early 20s. And this was all after Magic just wasn't interesting to me anymore. Started playing regular computer games, played League of Legends with my friends, and then we all know what happened over a year ago. So we're going to make a card game. And I dropped everything. I'm like, I'm playing this game. This is going to be what I do. And I was trying to stream for years before that with League and other games, but I had eventually just sort of fallen off of that. Like, it's a difficult category to stream in. I'm not sure if any of you guys have done League of Legends streaming. It's a very difficult category to be in, but like I said, those guys had that interview and they said, we're going to make a card game. And this is where we're at. Played the game a lot, stream it a lot, hit Masters before. I plan to do it again multiple times. And I love this game. I really, really do. And I like all the people that are involved in it. Brings folks like us here together today. It's really awesome. I appreciate that.
What I'm hearing is that if ever I come over to America and we drink together, there's going to be some highly competitive tables going down.
I can put the flowchart back together for you, buddy.
Are we going to learn also?
Someone just tuning in. We're gonna learn asshole. Tuning out.
So I see you've decided to learn to play the game Anus.
Yeah, I know that game, Anus. Yeah.
Didn't know it was that type of stream, guys.
And Unhinged, what about you?
20 years ago. No, I have a little bit more of a linear path. I once watched an anime called Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, well, this is my life now. And I've kind of been, that actually took me to Pokemon, which was fun, but it didn't have, I didn't like the card art. The card art is what kept me playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And then eventually, as time went on, I learned to really enjoy, which is funny because I'm not a huge combo player, but I learned to really enjoy creating combos in Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I moved on to, I think, Magic. I don't know what was next, if it was Magic or if it was this other game called Versus System, which if they ever made a virtual card game of that, I would be gone in an instant. Because that game, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it, but basically it was all of the DC characters from DC Comics and all of the Marvel characters, and they had their own cards, they had their own decks, their own strategies and play styles, and it was just so much fun to play that game, especially since you could play them against each other because the rules were the same. And I know they currently have a beta version of a Marvel game that there's like, I only know one streamer that streams it, and it's still in like APK. Like every time I go there, I'm like, is this game out yet? He's like, no, but here's the APK. And I'm like, that is too much work to put a virus on my computer, homie. I am the official download, please. But I know I was playing Hearthstone for a second. I was trying so hard to get into Hearthstone, but it not only was it boring,
expensive.
But I couldn't quite understand what the fuck was happening, if I'm being quite honest. It wasn't that I didn't understand the game, but it was just like, how do I do this? Especially since I was never going to pay money. Like, I was never going to pay actual money to get, I guess, where you need to be in that game to really start developing. Then you were never going to be good at
Hearthstone.
Yeah,
you weren't willing to pay money, you were never going to be good.
I imagine that was the case.
The transition from Magic the Gathering to Hearthstone can give anyone whiplash. Like, the tone change and like the rules change. It's actually nauseating.
And I thought this was just a digital version of, and I'm pretty sure we can all remember, there was a physical version of World of Warcraft card game that came out many moons ago, and I thought like this was just that. And I know a lot of the card art is the same, but it's definitely very different rules. But I know when Legends of Runeterra came out, I was like, I knew nothing of League of Legends at all. I knew zero about it. I've watched some trailers because it's got some pretty funky music and dope ass cinematics, and I was like, man, if I had the patience to play this game, I would be all over it, but I don't, so I'm not going to. And then I saw the card game, and I was like, what? Free? I'll jump on this. And I was just like, I'm never not going to play this. I'm super happy with where my life is.
Yeah,
It's a really good game.
I thought that story was like going somewhere like drastically different. Where you're like, I watched the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and I was like, this is where my life is now. I got possessed by an Egyptian god, and then like so on and so forth.
I spent some time in the Shadow Realm.
One never remembers when they've been possessed by an Egyptian god, with the exception of Yugi.
Oh my goodness.
So all I'm saying is it could have happened, but I don't know about it.
Yeah. Who knows? It gets close to the end of the season. You're behind on rank, and then boom, out comes the Egyptian god version, and
Out comes Unhinged Moto.
yeah. So the question of the hour is right now, who is ahead in the race? What are people sitting at rank wise?
Unhinged, I believe, is in Plat 1, and I am in Plat 4.
Okay. So you've got some catching up to do at the moment.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And
I'm interested to see the stats on number of games played. I want to see it in the end if we can. If Mobalytics is capable of doing such a thing.
Well, you know what? Your Mobalytics is busted, man. First of all, I was trying to check. What was I trying to check? Oh, I was trying to check what your highest rank had been, and it still says like your highest rank was Diamond 2. And it also did not update any of the decks you've been using. I was spying. I ain't gonna lie, I was spying on him.
He deactivated everything. So I was like,
You can just ask me. I'll tell you what I've been playing.
I'm a Mobalytics partner, so I'm not. I probably shouldn't say that the Mobalytics app just dead ass doesn't work, but like since they added the functionality of like the ladder spying in the Runeterra client itself, it's like it's probably better. Like because you're right, my Mobalytics says that I peaked at like Diamond 3 or something, but I
always forget about the in-game thing.
Yeah, you can just like click on people's client. It'll be like, this is what they've played recently. This is their peak rank. This is their champion mastery, if that's something you care about.
Yeah,
well, Steve,
that
what
something people care about.
Be like, all right, let me see what his expertise on motherfucking Sivir. Oh shit, he's a goddamn master. He knows his shit, man.
Yeah, he knows how to give units vulnerable and then play a good
Swurv, I can only assume that you must be like, loving it at the moment though, because I remember back in Mystic Shot days that you're a man who loves his build tour. So you've had terrible times. You had terrible times, but then it's now
very happy.
With the buffs and whatnot, you must be loving it.
So when these other patch notes came out a couple weeks ago, my jaw dropped when I saw that Make It Rain was going back to 2. To this moment, I still don't believe it. I'm playing the card every fucking day, and I still can't believe they did it. They're insane. They gotta set it back. It's gotta go back to 3. And I love that card. I love it, but it's too much. It's too good.
I love the fact that they added it when they added burst speed kegs. They're like, we'll change this, and then also adding burst speed keg. It's fine. No one knows.
They're like, hey, once upon a time it used to be OP, so then we nerfed it. But now we have a card that makes it OP again. So guess what? We're gonna buff this shit, and you guys have at it.
Yeah, you go, guys. I like to think the people at Riot were sat around a table and they were like, the community just really hate this deck. They want to see more buffs. How can we fuck with them the most? Like, what can we revert? Just everything. Like, why don't we just revert everything? See if they like that.
All I'm saying is justice for what's his face, Riptide Rex. Give him back his other cannon.
Yeah, give him his other cannon back. Come on.
Yeah.
Give the 3-1 that summons a random 1-coster powder keg. Give him 2 toughness again. Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah. And
why not?
then like I'm not sure if you guys have checked out one of my recent YouTube videos about Black Market Merchant. Like I was doing the deck and I just like dead stopped on that card. I'm like, this card is crazy.
Yeah, I love
I can't believe they gave it that health. I can't believe it.
Black market merchants I've always loved, and I think his nerf was severely undeserving. But yeah, I mean, Make It Rain for me is a super sore subject because when that shit existed in its prime, I hated it too, and I hate it again. Like I hate it so much. Like especially for me, I'm very much an aggro player, and I've really prided myself on my ability to have 4 units at times on the board by turn 2. And for a card to just come down and sure, if it hits my nexus, it takes out 2 of my units. But most times, it's just God RNG. It's like, not only are we going to hit all units, but we're going to hit all of your 2 attack units. You can keep those 1 attack guys. It is your turn now. And it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
So... And then my hand is empty. Like it has. I've lost the game by turn 2, and to some degree, I'm okay with that because it's like you win or lose by turn 3, turn 4, and with Make It Rain back, it's like, all right, I've lost immediately. I lost the moment I saw Misfortune fucking Gangplank. That's when the game was over for me.
Yeah,
I'm one of those Make It Rain players. I'm one of those guys.
Aggro players queuing into any shade of Bilgewater. It's like
no.
I just need to see your mulligan. Like
what I was gonna say is that I'm one of those Make It Rain players that like you could have a 6 unit wide board and I will hit all 3 targets that I need to, like 40% of the time. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's been miraculous.
As only the good players can.
Yeah,
as only expert MIR players do.
On the flip side, I'm the kind of Make It Rain player that I can cast Make It Rain and somehow I'll hit your Fizz all 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, I managed to hit Nexus, Fizz, and something with 5 health every single time.
Yep, and then they're swinging in with Stygian onlookers and stuff.
Yeah.
Nexus.
The new shade of like Draven Fizz is absolutely terrifying, by the way.
I cannot pilot it. And I remember, and I talked about this with Feint. Like I was running that deck, and like when not the one he runs now, but long ago, I was running that deck when he was running, and I discovered his stream, and I was like, oh shit, Fizz Draven. I was like, let me see yours, and I was like, yo, yours, like you have these. He had like 2 card difference that I was like, this actually makes more sense. And I took that and I like piloted. I got to like not Masters, Diamond. And when he came up with this one, I was like, yo, the Fizz Master at it again. Let me jump in it. And I'm just terrible. Every time I play it, I lose. Every time. Every time.
I tried piloting it earlier today, and it is honestly nauseating. It's so powerful. Like you just stack buffs onto the one elusive, get it up to its 10 power, play your Ruined Reckoner, and essentially you've given your 10 power elusive double strike. This is like the exact deck that I had nightmares about when I saw Ruined Reckoner. Like
everyone sees that when they saw free attack.
Yeah. Like I'm so upset it's being used this way, but like respect to Feint. He's really good at making decks that everyone hates.
Yeah,
I mean, he's really good at making because obviously he was like the start of where Twisted Fate Fizz was as well, wasn't
yes,
it?
Sir.
He's really good when it comes to Fizz. Like he's the master of making decks with Fizz.
Yeah.
So, what are people's thoughts? So, well, I suppose a good place to start because it's like the hot topic of the last couple of days. What are people thinking of the Cheerios deck, the Akshan deck, the hostage deck, whatever you want to call it, the
infinite loop decks? I guess.
The one that was popularized by Swim and has become generally hated by the entire community.
Well, that's what Swim does. He does. I you know what? I'm gonna let Swurv take this one. I don't want to say anything.
I mean, I understand where Unhinged is coming from. Like, if there's a deck that is this fucking stupid, Swim probably made it. Yes. Like, they can't exist in the game. Can we be honest about it? Like, let's not go like, oh, I want to play like this. Like, no, fuck you. That should not be in this game.
It's
You
one
can't
of those
do it.
things. It's one of those things where I appreciate the combo that's going on, but when it's one of those kind of like hostagey things where it basically just takes the opponent 100% out. So it's like the analogy that I've always said is like you're playing a game of chess and you just put a cardboard box over your opponent's pieces and say you can't play anymore. This is my game now. It's like the equivalent of that. It's like that's not the game anymore. Admittedly, let's face it, when this came out before when Swim did this, like it got hotfixed, so one would assume that somebody at Riot is thinking about hotfixing it, especially like because they don't want this going into I would assume they don't want this going into tournaments and because the thing of it is as well, because I think somebody did the maths on like how much it would take if they did like this infinite loop thing against your opponent type thing. If somebody stayed the whole game, it would take up like 40 minutes or so of the time because obviously like the tournaments have got timers, so you can actually make it so that you force your opponent basically to just like lose the rest of their matches.
Now, by that reasoning, though, it does mean that fucking nobody would take it to tournament, so that's nice at least.
And you know what? Swim always does this shit, and he's always like, I just like to make a disclaimer. Don't do this to anybody. This is just serious BM. Don't do this, I'm going to show you.
Whatever you do, don't click the link in the description to go to the deck list available on my website.
This is only supposed to be used for this purpose, and it's like, dude, you're like, you know what you're doing, man. That's like throwing fucking steak in a pack of hyenas and go, hey, man, don't eat that food, guys. Just no, okay, no. It's like, what are you doing? You know what you're doing, man. Like,
it's one of those things where at least, like, I will say, just in defense of Swim, at least he's because with his channel being as big as it is, you know that the second that he does anything like this, there is going to be popularized and that loads of people are going to play. Like literally, it's the same with like
he should know that though. He
does. I'm sure he does. I'm sure like it's things like Mogwai and that. Although like the second they put something out, but it's the knowledge needs to be out there because admittedly, this is, as he knows, a crazy broken thing. Like anything which like stops your opponent from being able to play anymore is an insanely broken thing, and it is the quickest way it will get fixed. Is like it sounds stupid, but if loads of people are playing it and loads of people complained, it is the quickest way of getting something like that fixed because it is, in its essence, something that I'm guessing the developers did not think about when adding these cards.
Yeah, it's like every time an expansion comes out, they forget that Zephyr Sage exists. How long before they nerf that to 11 mana just to like... like, bro, please. No, I see what Swim is doing, and I know he probably knows what he's doing as well. Like, when he says, don't play this deck, it's in the description. Like, I know he knows that people are going to click it. He's just making content and like whatever. Dude's on the grind. I can't hate.
No, he's bringing light to it, which is good.
Yeah.
Like you have to bring light to it so it can exit. Because like I said, like it can't be in the game. It can't be like that type of combo should be in the game, but the reward for achieving it should not be what it currently is.
Well, because that's the thing with it, isn't it? Like as you said, it brings light to it, and that is important. Because, like, let's say that Swim didn't make that video. It was actually already quite popular in the Asian server, from what I remember, before Swim actually put out the video. But let's say that Twitter and all that didn't exist. Could you imagine if the first time this deck actually got involved was in a tournament setting? Just like, because they would have no preparation for it whatsoever. I feel like, crap, like, you know what I mean? That's so it is important that decks like this actually get light as quickly as possible so that it can be fixed as quickly as possible, because otherwise it could go under the radar. And that is actually an important thing that Swim does do. And I will say that in his credit as like a devil's advocate. And admittedly, as you say, you know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to play that deck and force hostage situations onto the thing, which is not good, but that's on those players. Like, at the end of the day, that's all I say about that. So
one thing I'll say in credit of the actual deck itself, when compared to other, like, the Hush hostage deck from ages back, because of the way, like, the client works now, we can't hold people hostage properly, and this deck is not quite as bad as people are making it out to be. it is very easy if you've seen the deck before to know when you have lost. And you can just surrender at that point. If you choose to sit through the entire 40 minutes of your opponent's comboing off, like, you can see on board that they have infinite draw and infinite mana, you can leave at any time. I would not want to play this deck, and I don't want it to be in the game, but I think describing it as a hostage deck is probably a little bit off.
I think it's actually a reverse hostage situation if you play a card track, because I would sit there. I'd be like, you know what? You do it. You go for it.
Yeah, you go, man.
I've got
Stockholm
syndrome.
Movie right here.
I've got Stockholm syndrome. I've got the perfect emote for it. I've got my Karma Popcorn emote now. Let me just put that on while you do this.
Yes,
Oh, that's amazing.
So
Oh my god. Like, I've got all the patience in the world. I guess I need to get the Karma Popcorn emote now, huh?
Speaking of that, have you actually seen that combo whereby it actually makes Katarina like really usable because you can get Katarina down to 0? So
Yes,
you get, I
dude.
continuously rally. Finally, it is her time.
Yes, bro.
Akshan as a card has enabled a lot of things. Who would have thought that drawing 6 cards and making everything in your deck cost 3 less for 0 mana would be powerful?
I know,
Such
right?
a sexy card, dude.
I love Akshan. I love the design, but like, I'm very surprised that it doesn't have the thing. Like, pretty much every digital card game has the cannot cost less than 1 thing. Which the thing with like paper card games is that you are in an actual location with someone and you can use your words, and that's like the big weakness of the digital card game. Even though they have a million strengths above that, your opponent is behind a screen somewhere in the other part of the world. You can't say the simple phrase "I have it." Like when you are playing Storm in Magic the Gathering, you can say to your opponent, "Dude, I have this. Do you want to move on to game 2?" Or or even your opponent can go, I have, let's say this is like, I'm playing that dumb Vi combo deck where I make my units infinitely big. I could say, you can stop, dude, I have Ruination. Like, but that's something that can't be said between screens, and I think that's why especially with the priority in this game being like, you have to press pass over and over and over again, decks like this can't really exist.
But now you're making me just think like if this was in like a real life and you were actually talking to the person, just literally the second they start doing this, making their cards cost, just sit and look at them. Fuck you, man. Fuck you.
I don't. You've never played Magic the Gathering. That's exactly.
We
how
can't
it is.
reach across the table and slap the guy, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to. You can't do that here.
Yeah, you've never experienced someone going Metamorphose. Like, great shot you for 12. Metamorphose. Like, bro. Yeah, there's the real life card game has some advantages communication wise, and I think any combo that requires your opponent to press the pass button a critical number of times is probably not meant to be in this game. And it's like a real problem as power creep happens. Like, as this game becomes more and more Yu-Gi-Oh-esque and people are like trying to win on like turn 3, the client doesn't really support that. You know?
Yeah.
As you said that about Magic, I'll never forget. I was playing a guy one time, and he had this green deck, and I think it was like turn 2 or turn 3. It was like, all right, well, you've lost. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, these 3 cards, I get to do this, 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 and this. And then I just heal infinitely. And because Magic doesn't have a cap on how much life you can have, he was like, I can do this until I have as much life as I want, and you'll never beat me. And I was like, okay, then I guess you won. I was like, we can move on to the next match then.
It's over, Anakin. I have all the heals.
I am the hill.
One of my crowning achievements in Magic the Gathering is I won a game by getting someone to use their words. Like, so we were in a game situation, and this guy was like, "Okay, I have the combo," and this combo was a really famous combo, right? And I knew this player to be a net decker who clearly had no idea what the hell he was doing. So I was like, "Okay, perfect. Show me. Go on, show us the loop." And
he was like,
and he lost that game actually.
I have the combo. Prove it.
Yeah. He also lost some friends that day, thanks to you, buddy.
I'd love to see it.
He lost
Show
some
me it
respect
works.
and some dignity too along the way.
Almost sounds
gosh.
like that player was more of a poker player than anything. Like, I've totally got the combo, so you just want to concede right there.
I have two
like-
aces. I have 2 aces. Sitting on some bullets right here. Okay, shoot me then.
Getting back to Runeterra, what is an unexpected, what technically is a bug? I want to get Swurv's opinion, because I know that Swurv is a man who loves his Swain.
Yes.
Yes.
So, what is your opinion on the whole idea of using Despair on top of Swain in order to, like, leveled Swain in order to do 3 damage to everyone, because it technically is a Nexus hit. Even though if you go over Nexus hit, it does actually say the words, it has to be the enemy Nexus that it strikes, but it does actually still work if it's your own.
I think it's hilarious at all that
What?
it is happening.
Yeah, if you just spare your own Swain, it does 3
Yeah.
damage to each unit you don't control.
Bro, I almost left my house when you said that. Like, I almost left. I was like, "Oh, this interview is over."
Like, I put a thing of it on Twitter of me actually doing it.
Yeah,
Right.
I saw it
Holy
and I was
shit.
like, this is stupid.
By the way, do you want to make that even more stupid? That, like, I've realised, but basically, if you use Siphon Soul to make it, or is it Splinter Soul or whatever the hell it is, to basically make a 1/1 of Swain and then despair the 1/1, you only take 1
You
damage.
would do
plus-
that.
plus
Yeah,
it's only
that's
got-
something that you would do.
It's something that I can imagine you specifically doing, yeah.
plus it's already ephemeral anyway, so it was going to die. So a 1/1, direct, take 1 damage to core, do 3 damage to everything on your opponent's side, still keep the other Swain alive and go forward and go, what are you going to do about it?
Well, so this we like one thing about Legends of Runeterra is that whenever they release champions, they make them like a really good representation of their League of Legends counterparts. And one thing that they were sure to do is make sure that Viego was released buggy as shit. Which, like, I just,
Yes.
yeah, I love that. I love that. I don't know about you guys, but I have noticed more bugs this patch than ever.
Yes.
Before.
Yes.
Like, there's some hilariously game-breaking ones as well. Like, let me think. The Viper Worm or the Camvoran Dragon that strikes an ally on their way in. If you have the 0/3 Elephant, it strikes it twice and basically levels up your Savannah immediately. If you just spare a Nasus, it will strike your Nexus and then level up and gain Spell Shield and not die, but instead pop the Spell Shield. You can atrocity yourself for 4 mana.
Oh my god, bro.
And there's more Viego doesn't acknowledge that Frostbite is a thing when it comes to
Yep.
leveling up.
I know
Like
that.
if you have like a Frostbite and 6/6
Yeah.
in play, it gives you
I
6
hate
level up
that.
progress. I hate a lot of this. I have managed to run into every single one of these on ladder, just by the way. But,
I am always behind on bugs. I haven't ran into any of that. The one bug that I most recently was like, I didn't know about, that I thought just the card was stupid, was the lurk landmark. I was like, this shit is just obliterating cards, and it's not like I'm not lurking, even though the next card was a lurk card. And then Mo was like, it's a bug. And I was like, oh, okay, so the card's actually good. Got it.
Yeah, I actually thought that the card, because I'm used to Magic the Gathering and things going on the stack at the same time, I just assumed that Lurk didn't trigger because when it obliterated the top card, that didn't trigger Lurk. The top card.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, I thought it was just a shit card. Like,
Yeah. But in fact, bugged. Really good card.
really, really kind of okay, yeah. So, like, the thing I want to like talk about, because it's like actually genuinely depressing at this point. What do people think about the state of the meta, and I guess the state of the meta template? You know, the Sivir plus the 9 prerequisite cards that go with Sivir plus whatever you want meta that we're in right now.
I think that Spell Shield is bonkers. And it is like, holy crap. Like, that Spell Shield on Sivir it hurts so bad. Like, you lose so many trades because of it. Like, there's not even possible trades because of that Spell Shield. It's like, well, I just watch you kill all my stuff. All right. This
Yeah,
sucks.
and like the Spell Shield in combination with a lot of easily accessible vulnerable it's like Shurima has become the new Demacia, but it's like Demacia and Freljord. It's like it's the Sivir template of, off the top of my head, is it Sivir, Rockhopper, Merciless Hunter, Ruin Runner, Shapestone, and one other, I think. All of those together, plus any other cards in the entire existence of the game, all of those together will make a competitive deck. And
I'm gonna let you know that I've tried that with Trundle, and not Trundle. I've tried that with Tryndamere, and so far not the case.
Oh, fair enough. It's so like we've got Sivir Z, we have Sivir TF, we have Sivir LeBlanc, Sivir Renekton. All of these decks are sitting on almost 60% win rates, and they are all running the same. How many cards is that? 3, 6, 18 cards. So very low variance in what is like the template for the best deck archetype in the game. And it does just feel as if Shurima is really like overloaded right now, right? It's like
I can imagine that those cards are going to be some of the first to get nerfed in patches. Just I feel like the reason why they were so high statted to begin with is because, you know, Shurima was the new region. They wanted to start because it's always that thing when the new region is, say we're in Targon entered the game, let's face it, it's always going to have cards which are more like kind of like better, because like better value, because they start off with less cards. Like that like compared to all the other regions, that region's always going to start off with less cards as it slowly but surely gains momentum as like more cards get added to the game and things like that. So like there does tend to be more value in early game or early new region cards, and then I feel like once it gets to a stage, then they just go, okay, right now we change all the stats and whatnot and make it so this is more even. But because it was kind of like the new kid on the block, they were like, let's give this the best values as possible type thing.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about the whole. Like it's because I really enjoy Sivir, right? Like, and I actually wasn't using her up until I started to see Sivir LeBlanc pop off the way that it's popping off right now with Reputation. And I personally, I think I've gone on the record. I hate Vulnerable right now, and I don't think that Vulnerable shouldn't exist. But I feel as though there's so much Vulnerable that you cannot. It makes it difficult. I don't say cannot. It makes it difficult for you to get your game plan going, depending on the type of game plan that you're set out to do. When you just have a series of cards that go, well, I'm gonna take the unit that you're trying to develop and kill it. Like Lucian decks get kind of wiped out, Fizz decks get wiped out to a degree, Teemo decks get wiped out. Anything where you're trying to develop board in the early game, it's completely destroyed by a 3-drop 4/3 that grants vulnerable, or a 2-drop
that has
3/1
fearsome,
that
by
grants
the way.
Vulnerable. That has fearsome.
Don't
Exactly.
forget the fact that it has fearsome, and
don't forget that it is literally Callista's stat line,
but better.
Yeah.
So you know, there's that aspect of it where it becomes a little bit frustrating, and then you have a card like Sivir, which again I enjoy the way that she works. I do think they buff cards at weird times. I feel like they did not need to give her the buff that she got, and she would still be equally as competitive. And I could be wrong. I know how much how much of a difference a tiny value can make, but I feel as though she would still be as competitive given the other cards that we've received that people are also playing in conjunction to her. I don't want to see them butcher those cards, right? I don't want to see Ruin Runner get demolished. I love Ruin Runner as a card. Either playing it or even playing against it. It's like, all right, how am I going to deal with this Ruin Runner, or am I going to lose to this Ruin Runner? I don't want to see them demolish what's her face 4/3, but there needs to be some sort of give and take there if she's going to come out for 3 mana. You know what I mean? Especially when you right behind that you have the 4 mana card, the 5/3, that not only does he grant vulnerable, but he reduces your attack by 1. Like it's just a lot of overpower effect happening with those cards that maybe just needs to be slightly down tuned. And for the longest while I was on Merciless Hunter's side, but seeing it more now with the cards that we've received in this last couple patches. It's like it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the train that says that a lot of the vulnerable Shurima cards right now, such as Merciless Hunter, get Grant switch over to Give and have it be a temporary, like, if you want this overstated fearsome unit, you better play it on your attack turn or else.
Yeah,
Like,
because
like,
some of the problem is like
make it hard to do.
you're playing Merciless Hunter on 3 and then curving into Sivir, and Sivir with quick attack is grabbing what you just vulnerable. Whereas if you had if it was just Give, that wouldn't be so much of an issue. And like Sivir's stat line is strong and Spell Shield is strong, but the reason she is so good is because she is dictating the terms that she goes into combat with. If you cast your mind back eons back when people were playing, let me see if I can get these names right. The Noxian Drummer, the 2 cost 3/2 with support.
Yep.
Yeah, is that
Yeah,
right?
quick attack. Yep.
Yeah, and Trifarian Glory Seeker. Like back in the day, that was a pretty premium combo. Even though they were both on the 2 mana point, they didn't curve into each other very well. It was really clunky. It was very vulnerable because one of them had 1 health. The ability to pick off one of your opponent's cards for almost no trade, with the quick attack 5/1 was premiumly powerful. Now we are doing that, but with 2 extremely well statted cards that curve into each other.
Yeah.
And the ease at which we do it now compared to how we did it back then is the alarming thing. Is that like we are dictating the terms of combat as the attacker, and we don't want this to turn into Hearthstone because like that's the issue with Hearthstone, is that the attacker chooses blocks.
Let's face it, I'm like having both quick attack and spell shield is a little insane for any card. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because obviously quick attack is one of those things where it's dictate, they can go into something and most of the time not feel any impact because, like, especially with the stat line that Sivir's got. But the fact that you've got no form of like easy counterplay of a spell or anything like that because of the spell shield, it's maybe a little bit too much for her to have both.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I know they're like. I imagine this is a situation you guys have found yourself in like a lot. You see your opening hand post mulligans and you're like, okay, perfect, this is great. I'm curving out really nicely. They've got the attack token on even, so they have first action on 2. They play Rockhopper. Your curve is completely ruined because you have to now like decide which point in your curve you are completely giving up.
Yeah.
And usually it's not your 2. It's frustrating. Because,
it's frustrating, but I'm okay with Rockhopper, and I'm okay with that landmark granting vulnerable because at least you can pick your poison. You at least have some choice in it. But
I think Rockhopper in a vacuum. Yeah, Rockhopper in a vacuum is an okay card. You know, he's perfectly statted for what he's doing. Most times he's the one grabbing. Like if it's definitely something that you feel like in your hand, you're like, I could throw this away and I'm gonna get this trade anyway, so it works out for me. Like if I play the 2/1 that gives me the magic card that gives me the 5/2, then I'm happy with that trade. I get rid of the vulnerable landmark, I kill a 3/1, and everybody's happy in that situation. But I think the biggest issue with that deck is 100% Mrs. Vulnerable granted and fearsome imposed.
Yeah.
She's just trying to give Renekton a good gift, okay?
Mrs. Hunter was my mother. Please, call me merciless. This set's been, like, Empire of the Ascended came out, like, 3 months ago. How have you still not found a gift for Renekton?
I'm telling you. And how come Renekton is never with you?
Yeah.
You send all these gifts for him, but he ain't there. I ain't seen him.
Gotta find a gift for Sivir.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right, Arda?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god.
Like,
she's got some great lines though.
Yeah. Spitting facts.
Merciless Hunter just, man. They gotta. Do they change the stats? Do they make it give vulnerable or something?
I think they must change it to give, right? Because if they change the stats to a 3/3, I think that might be a bit much, right? That's like a drastic change.
Not if they keep her with fearsome though.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I say you make her a 3/2. You make her a 3/2. Keep fearsome. Keep Grant. That's fine.
Yikes! That's a big nerf.
That's that's a really big nerf, but I mean, it's still like with Sivir comboing
She's
this.
Yeah, she's coming out. She's coming out turn 3, like like 3-2 at turn 3 is not that
I
out
think
of
it's
this
so
world.
crazy. I think it's so crazy.
I think the problem is that it can't be because she's got to find a gift for Renekton, right? It's she was designed to go with Renekton. She's being used with Sivir, but she was designed to be used with Renekton, and that's why she's a 3 cost that curves into 4 and grants. So I think it needs to stay permanent for her to still function with the card she was designed for.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Or they just change her attack. They change her words. Redo her dialogue, and
Gotta-
you can say,
Yeah,
Gotta find a gift for Renekton on turn 7.
Gotta find a gift for someone.
Is it Christmas yet?
It's Christmas, guys.
Oh my god! If she came out saying that, that'd be the best thing in the world.
Yeah. It's almost Renekton's birthday.
Then she can do what she wants.
Oh, that's great.
Is there any cards out of the new ones that we've got that you're still waiting? Like, you're still waiting to see something come out of it that you were really hyped about? Out of curiosity, out of the new cards, is there anything you're like, I'm waiting to see this card like pop off?
I'm not waiting to see anything pop off. I tend to not do that, but with this whole thing I got going on with Swurv, I'm a little bit more focused on what I'm playing, at least to get out of X rank, and then I can goof around for a little bit and then try again. But I am dying to make a payday deck with all these payday cards that we have now. Like, that just seems like in the right type of build, there could be something there. Especially everybody's like sleeping on the 5/5 because they're like, he comes out at 5 and you've basically lost the game at that point. And to some degree, especially in this meta now, you're like, okay, sure. But I mean, there's a lot of quick attack granting. There's a lot of elusive granting.
I just want to play that guy with Judgment. Because every single time he strikes, he gives you things like he wipes the board and he gives you all of the 5.
0 cost paydays. Oh my goodness.
Like the thing with yeah, I agree with you. This guy, like, people who say like he's a 5 cost 5/5. So's Avaros and Hearthguard, and he doesn't even do anything. Like, no one can play him. If there's room in the meta for
so is Raven.
Frostbite to exist, then like Raven as well. Raven doesn't really do anything the turn he enters. Yeah, no, I think there's untapped
Jack the
potential
Winner.
there.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, Jack the Winner. That 5 cost 5/6.
Oh man, I keep making fun of Riot. Like, please stop giving 5 drops 6 health. Like, they did it to Trundle, they did it to Jack the Winner. It's just stop doing it.
I mean, they kind of did it to Vi with having tough.
Yep.
The card that I think is probably going to see a lot of competitive play after people figure it out is the 6 cost 5/6, the Scattered Pod, I think it is.
Yes, that card has crazy potential to just
because it
bust the game wide open.
Yeah, I think when people at the moment people are playing it in Karma Ezreal to tutor for Thermo Beam as the only slow speed card in the deck, and that's fine and all. It also, if you click burst speed, it only gives you draw spells because it gives you meditation or time trick, and that's pretty good. That's all right. Like you're choosing between removal or draw. But I think at some point people are going to figure out a spell pool that makes Scattered Pod just so good.
Yeah, it's this mechanic is why everybody hated Go Hard so much, because you could basically get a tutor with Zap and just could do stuff. Everybody hated that, right? Like, so they
giving me nightmares.
Like, they're walking on like really thin ice to not make this card break the game.
Yeah. Luckily,
there's a lot of things going on right now.
I mean, you could make the only slow speed in your deck. That's actually quite interesting. If you made the only slow speed in your deck out of the way, and I don't think this would be competitive, but like the problem with out of the way is that drawing 2 of them sucks, right? But if out of the way is your only slow speed spell, you only have to play 1 in the deck, and if you've already drawn it by the time you play Scattered Pod, just choose one of the other 2 options, fast or burst. That's pretty cool.
I mean, I could see that as quite an interesting. Especially
yeah,
the way has got some synergies with Ionia in the, I guess, like sparring student, having that buff being continuous. The guy who gets stats every single time you play a unit, he gets like a +1 away. Like the guy who nobody played when he
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out.
Oh, you mean Sparring Students Big Brother?
That's the one.
Yeah. It's got the one that was the one that literally reads on him as an additional cost for me to connect cast syncopate.
The one. The one who, like, Swurv laughs at every single time as he sees in the background the army of Leviathans, like, making his way to the man. That guy.
Wait.
The 2/6, the 2/6 that gets +2/+0 whenever you play a unit.
Swurv's got no idea.
He's a great card. I was running him in Azure earlier for a while.
Yeah, like it.
I'm looking for the name of it.
Unironically, with
the Ionian card, right?
Yeah, he's an Ionian card. Yeah.
What's the name of it?
He's like a dude in a field. He's a
Coastal
Defender, I believe.
Something like
I
that?
might be wrong.
Yeah.
Coastal Guard.
Close
Something like
enough. See, I do remember some things.
I mean, yeah, that card does have some potential to be really kind of crazy, for sure. That's not really on my watch list, right? Like,
Dude.
if I want to see like a crazy card pop off, I'd like to see like Sanctum Conservator pop off, like some crazy deck that makes
Is that the
card.
9 cost?
No, it's the 8 cost play if you've slain 13 plus
units,
units.
yeah.
This game kill all enemy followers, then summon a copy of me. Like 2 8/5 fearsomes. Like what?
My flatmate is unironically running 3 of them in the deck he's climbing it with right now.
But does it grant vulnerable though? Because if it doesn't grant
I just want to see a crazy swap bot deck whereby I said, like,
oh my god, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy swap bot deck whereby if you're taking your. I mean, the thing of it is, I have seen somebody use it to a really funny effect whereby you use swap bot with concurrent timelines, and there's somebody who turned their Zoe into a 7/7 because they turn it into the crocodile, which obviously is a 7/7.
God.
So giving that stat to their own Zoe, and obviously then you can take that stat onto an enemy and choose whatever the worst stat line is out of the 4 costs.
I just threw up in my mouth. Come on.
Wait, he can target enemy units as well?
Yeah, you can target anyone on the board.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Is that card
That's
actually
what-
good?
That's why I can't wait for
Because
that
reasons, man. Because reasons.
The card might actually be good. Like unironically, I think it needs the right deck, but I don't think PNZ control decks that exist right now don't have enough units to care. But like PNZ control in the future might.
He's just one of those cards whereby if you just see your opponent's like like Viego going up to crazy stats, and then go, they now belong to me.
Oh man, yeah, that's nuts, dude.
Those stats are mine. Good day, sir.
Because when I saw him, my only thought with him, because like, clearly I'm like not interpreting the card text correctly, but my only thought was him. Sure, you want to like team him up with a low cost elusive, and then kind of give them that extra oomph to get more damage in. But I didn't realize he could target enemies.
Yeah, it's just target a unit. Target unit anywhere on the board. So opponent or your own. That's what makes it an interesting card. I can't wait for him to find like a kind of weird deck that works with it.
I am surprised that Ruin Rex is seeing no play at all while we're talking about like the new cards.
He's some play. There's some people who are playing like a casino version of like because casino
The Mogwai deck he just built.
I've ran into one of them.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm not crazy impressed by it, but it has kind of a good chance to high roll enough to like really blow the game out. Like if you get even like 2 cards, like if you draw 2 cards, that could be like a crazy swing in the game and completely blow the game wide open.
I was never more excited to lose a game than when I lost to Ruin Rex, because my opponent he was running Twisted Fate and he did his draw 2, put a card back, draw 2 next round. He did it twice. And I was like, what are you doing, bro? You're about to lose. You got 1 unit. It's my attack token. I'm going to summon some more. There's nothing you can do. And then I developed board, and then a Ruined Rex came down. And I was like, oh,
shit.
This card does exist.
Son of a bitch.
The thing of it is, it's one of those cards where I kind of wish that he read like Slotbot, where Slotbot takes into consideration the cards you drew last round
turn,
rather than this turn.
Would've
If he
been so
did
much
that, I'd
better.
love him a lot more. But
because he would have carved off of Twisted Fate as well. So like at worst, you could have like blue carded into Ruined Rex, which would have been like fine. Just you talking about the most excited you've been to lose. I had an absolutely surreal game the other day. I'm just on a quick tangent. I was playing against a Nivea LeBlanc. It was using a Nivea and like her attack and like the full like sweep of the board to give like mimics into hand, and then using the mimics on a Nivea to make eggs that would then hatch into new Niveas. And this guy was just absolutely wiping my ass. Like I could not establish a board ever. It worked perfectly. And the entire time I was losing my mind, like, what alternate reality am I in where this is like actually destroying me?
Dude,
Devastating.
people still trying to make a Nivea work hurts my feelings.
She's an interesting card.
I hate that card so much.
Champion.
Yeah, I don't like that Anivia is basically locked into a single archetype. She should like there's apart from the rogue LeBlanc players, there's only one Anivia deck, and it's just kind of boring.
I am happy that it's only locked into the one. I don't want to see it anywhere else.
We can't have that bald eagle come back. We cannot.
Oh, bald
have
eagle!
that back.
The days of bald
We
eagle
can't.
when Rom had one attack. Good days.
Good day.
But I think
God.
it was like
You see how quickly they nerfed that, though? Merciless
they're
Hunter, on the other hand.
It's
My
fine. I mean,
God.
that's I'm sure that at some point we're going to see Merciless Hunter and some of those cards take a hit. It's just as because Shurima was the new boy on the block, they wanted to give them the best chance. But anyway, I believe we're winding down. So, is there anything that people wish to plug right now? I'm assuming your Twitches and YouTubes, which we will put in links down below for both of these two lovely creators. So, is there anything else that you guys want to say or plug?
Swurv?
Oh, okay. I was just waiting, I guess. Yeah, so twitch.tv/SwurvTV. I stream around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is GMT -5 on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I also, I do have a YouTube channel. I'm somewhat active on it. Not as free as Gomez is to pump out the YouTube, but I try my best to put a video out every week, and I'm wicked active on Twitter. Like, I wake up every morning before going to work to see if Unhinged said anything stupid on Twitter first. Like, I have to check that. That's the first thing I do, and I will respond to that, and it's usually kind of funny, so you can check me out there too.
And it feels good to know that I am the highlight of his day. So
You're the reason I get out of bed, buddy.
Yeah, I don't plug. There will be links apparently in the description. Plus, I don't know time zones as well as Swurv clearly does. But yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll be putting links to pretty much all of your everything anyway. So I
Just click those links.
That episode absolutely flew by. Jesus, I didn't realize an hour had passed until Gomez said.
So thank you to both our guests for being here. We wish you both luck on your quest of who can beat who. I said Swurv, you got a little bit of catching up to do, but we look forward to seeing.
I also wish Swurv luck. I also
wish luck.
Thanks.
But yeah, I said I can't wait to hear what the results are going to be. But thank you both for being on the podcast as well. Obviously for taking your time and that.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Like I said, we'd love to have you back at some point. But yeah, so let's Jankie. You got anything else to say? And I'll wrap everything up.
No, go ahead.
Well, good. So bear in mind, people, that you can catch us in all the earhole places of YouTube or SoundCloud. I can't think of Spotify. That's the name.
Spotify, yep.
Yep. All these places. If you want to catch us there, you can do. As well as obviously me and Jankie both stream and do YouTube content. So links yet again will all be down below. But thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, goodbye.
Bye-bye.